This is Black Woman CEO. Welcome to the only podcast dedicated to giving you the raw and real experiences of successful Black women entrepreneurs. Yes, girl, we're talking about the behind the scenes strategies of what it takes to increase in your profit, power, and purpose. I am your host, Quanisha Green, and I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy today's show. Welcome to our live summit, Maintaining Your Calm and Confidence During Crisis. So excited to be back with our next Black Woman CEO expert, Aisha Moore. Hey, Aisha.
Hi, Quanisha.
How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you for accepting my invitation. Today, Aisha is going to talk about how to maintain your sanity, to maintain your sales. Who wants to learn about that? The money.
Yes.
To retain those sales. So just to give a quick recap about why we're even doing this. As of this time, and not to date the video because this information is going to be useful throughout your entrepreneur or just life, right? Throughout life. But at this time, we are currently in a world pandemic, right? And that's what the World Health Organization has described it. So I promise you, I'm not being extra and dramatic with the coronavirus. You have big cities like New York being about to be shut down in like 48 hours. Whole countries are not allowing entry. Most of us are on self-quarantine or mandatory quarantine. So life is looking very interesting right now. Hopefully in our lifetime, this will be the only type of major pandemic that we will experience. But it's the first time many of us will be experiencing this in our generation. And then particularly times of crisis are particularly hard hitting for entrepreneurs and small business owners. So whether you're like me and your business is your full-time is business or bust, or you're doing it in parallel to a career, right? This can be a very interesting time. So I really wanted to bring on some experts. Some of them are mentors, CEO sisters, some of them are clients, but they really have an expertise to help you navigate this unexpected world event and many other things that are coming up. And once again, even though Aisha is going to talk about maintaining sales, the purpose of this is not just about the money piece, is actually how do we do this in a holistic way, right? Really touching on these aspects of life. So definitely we're going to repurpose this as a podcast and different things. And just one more housekeeping, because we are sharing this video on Facebook, please interact with it, share comments, hit the reactions. Why? Because that helps another sister rise. We have over 14,000 women on our Facebook group. And every time you interact, it's telling Facebook like, hey, we should share this with another person. And also in the group, if you interact with the video, we have about 1,500 women in our Black Women CEO Facebook group. And that also allows more folks to do it. And ultimately, we want to know what's resonating with you. Let Aisha know, right? What stands out around what she's saying. So it also feeds the experts and letting them know that what you connect with. And of course, post your questions because we'll come back and touch on both the comments and questions as we go along. But I'm going to hand it over to Aisha. We've been connected for years now, and I love her work at Selfcare by Aisha. And once again, today, she's going to talk to you about how to maintain your sanity or maintain your sanity to maintain your sales. So I'm going to go ahead and mute my video and, and hand it over to you.
Okay. So
you should be able to share now.
I can share my screen. All righty, everybody. Here we go. Can you see that's the screen?
Yes, I can see the screen.
Okay. Awesome. So thank you, Quanisha, for giving me an opportunity to put on some earrings, full face of makeup, because, sometimes you just need to rise to the occasion. So
that is lovely. I love it.
That, because you said we're on this, in-home status. And so that doesn't always mean, getting yourself together. So I got opportunity to get myself together. So the first thing I just want to let you guys know is self-care is not canceled. The gym might be canceled. Your spa appointment might be canceled. For some of us, work might be canceled, but self-care is definitely not canceled. This is the time that we need to step it up. And one of the reasons why we need to step it up as Black women CEOs is because this is how we're going to maintain our sales. So if we don't figure out how to remain resilient during this time, it can affect our pocketbooks. So this is already affecting our pocketbooks. Like one of my main pieces of work is public speaking in front of large crowds. And I was scheduled to go to a university the first week of April, right? That's canceled. I had a live event that I was putting together March 21st. That's canceled, right? So we have to think about, okay, so how do I not let those two things, and if you're experiencing similar things, how do I not let this shut my business down, shut me down, right? How can I maintain my sanity in this whole insanity that's going on and maintain those sales? And in some cases, we'll be able to even make those sales rise. So I am the founder of Selfcare by Aisha, and I help senior level working women avoid or recover from burnout. And I have people really focus on self-care planning. But another thing you should know about me is that I actually have 20 years of public health experience. So not only am I, working with my clients in my community around maintaining their sanity around this whole thing, I'm actually working in areas on this pandemic, right? So I'm getting to see it from both sides. And so I'm getting to see how information overload is impacting people, right? So we're sitting there reading Facebook or whatever, trying to figure out what information is credible, what information is satire, what information is fake news, right? And that's taking a lot of bandwidth from us. So I am just here to talk about how we can maintain ourselves, because if we go down, our cells go down. And I think we could definitely rise to this occasion to maintain and even increase sales. So I want to share something with you guys. I'm going to share with you guys two things. I'm going to share something new and then something that is like my bread and butter, right? So I'm going to share first these 5 B's, and then I'm going to share how you can either create for the first time or revamp your cells is your brain, your bandwidth, and your boundaries, right? So the first thing is, and the previous speaker mentioned this, is around your mental health, right? Information overload, this whole situation can cause anxiety, depression, overwhelm, all of those things. And, there's people who already are managing and dealing with mental wellness challenges. And for some of us, mental wellness challenges new ones may be brought on, or other ones may be sort of fires may be stoked. Like I know some people who experienced Hurricane Katrina, they have had a little PTSD around this, right? So the first thing is around our brain, our mindset, right? And what we can do there. We need to pay attention, right? So we need to pay attention to whether there's too much going on in our mind. So that can be overwhelming, the amount of information that we put in, and really focus on that. So some ways that you can focus on that are by journaling, right? So thinking about, okay, so if I'm feeling overwhelmed, if I'm feeling hopeless, right? How can I find hope? How have I found hope before, right? If you have seen a therapist in the past, or feel like that might be an option that you need to explore, that's something you can do. I know some therapists who have opened up more time on their schedule because maybe other things they're doing, maybe they also teach, right? And now the university is closed, so they have a lot more time to see clients. So that's something that we need to be thinking about, because if our brain is cloudy and we keep walking towards worry, then we become less productive and effective and less creative, right? And we need the opposite of those 3 things. So really, really pay attention to what you're consuming, how it's impacting you, and do that daily check-in every day. So when I wake up and open up my eyes, the question I ask myself every day is, what does Aisha need, right? And often that has to do with, mental wellness things, right? So I may need to meditate, I may need to pray, I mean to journal, I may need to call a friend, right, to just help me put things in perspective. And I think that's one of the big things, is maintaining that perspective and not getting our minds like 2 weeks, 6 months, a year out of like, what am I going to do? Sometimes we just have to focus on, okay, what am I going to do today? What am I going to do tomorrow? And then say, okay, now let's do the other thing. So the next part is bandwidth, right? And so part of that is like, so how much energy, how much time do I really have to work on these things? So some people have now your children at home. I'm very, very sensitive to the fact that for some people, this whole being at home thing is not pleasant. You may be, there may be some people who are not having the best time with their spouse by being together, right? Maybe that's already a hard situation. Maybe someone has a child with special health care needs. Maybe and in that case, I actually had a client whose child was violent, right? And so having that child at home is not healthy, right? So we have to think about, okay, so where does my energy have to go, and what can I maintain, and what can I ramp up? So when it comes to like your business and sales, one thing I want to remind people to do is to repurpose. You don't necessarily have to create something new to continue to serve your audience, and you don't have to create a new offer in order to serve your audience. Repurpose something, because they would love for you to get something out there quick and not spend 3 weeks creating a new thing, or creating something really quickly that's not up to your normal standards. So think about all the things that you can repurpose, and you definitely want to be selling during this time, is because people need you, right? So right now people need every single piece of self-care advice that I can give out. So I'm doing more content, short pieces of content, three ways you can do this, 3 ways you can do that, but also going to be, selling the products that will help people, because people at this point in time, they just want to get straight to the help, right? They just want to get straight to the help. And this is a time that some people may be investing in themselves. And if you're in particular someone who helps people with their businesses, right? This is a time where they maybe feel overwhelmed because they don't have as much time, and they need your service as a vendor, and or they need your help with helping them figuring out how to streamline processes, and or how to ramp things up. Because like, if you have lost business like I have, right, that is something that in the brain section is overwhelming you, stressing you out, right? You're like, I got mortgages and these kids are eating up all my food, right? You know what I'm saying? You gotta figure out how to manage all that. So really think about like, what can you do, and what you can't do, and be planful about that. So some of us need to scale back and just be like, okay, so I need to just put out my high signature offer right now. And there's others of us who may need to ramp up, because a particular thing that we do is the thing that people need the most right now. So the last thing is to set boundaries with other people and with yourself, right? So if you're a person that people always go to, maybe if you're feeling overwhelmed, this isn't the time to where you can really be that person, because you might have other obligations. There's definitely some people in my industry who are picking up shifts. I know people who have gone from like their regular job to have to go answer the COVID-19 hotline at a state office, right? So, they're taking on new things, right? So you want to, let people know when you're available. You do not need to be available 24/7 to your clients. It's not healthy, right? Again, you might not have the bandwidth for it. So, even if you extend your hours a little bit, all that white space in your calendar is not for every single client. It's not for every single member of the family to fill up. Make sure you're setting boundaries and reminding everyone else that your self-care is not canceled, that you need to put time on the calendar for that. And even if you're not feeling overwhelmed yet, right? Some of us are not there. We're like on day 2 or 3 and we're good. We're still over here like group chatting with our girls, having at home happy hour, that kind of thing. Go put the self-care in place now, so that way you have those reserves, and that's how you stay resilient, right? Because if you're think of stress levels on a scale of 1 to 10. If your stress level 1 being very low, you're about to have you're having like signs and symptoms of stress. When you add this stuff on top of it, like that's going to take you down. That's where you're going to start experiencing depression, anxiety, stomach aches, overwhelm. Versus if you kind of keep your, I said that backwards. If you keep your stress level low at a number 1, then you have room for all of this stuff to happen. You have room for your stress level to go up a little bit. If you're at 10 at prime overwhelm, then how do you deal with the unexpected, right? How do you deal with things that are going to come along? And if you don't have room for the unexpected, you're not going to have room for doing things in your business. You're not going to be clear, and you're not going to have room to necessarily make those sales, right? So maybe you pitch something, right? And someone emails you, but your bandwidth and your boundaries are such that, you're so overwhelmed that you can't respond and you lose a sale, right? So that's what we're trying to do, is like kind of keep everything calm and clear, so that way you can continue what you're doing or ramp up or have to get creative. So right now, two things I'm getting creative on is that my live event for Saturday, I'm changing that into a virtual piece. And then so I got to get creative of like, okay, how am I going to make this virtual piece happen? And then postponing the live event. And then for the $3,000 I lost from the speaking engagement, I'm going to put together like a signature illness and pitch that to different companies who might be thinking about like how to keep your employees well during, virtual times, and or just giving it, to help giving their employees like 10 tips or like how to make a self-care plan. Like, people have paid me to do that live before, but I feel like there is more opportunity now because people are worried about their employee wellness, and some companies just don't have anybody working on that and they need to bring in a vendor, right? So we have to be able to figure all of that out. All right, so the thing for me is that I have to design all of this, like all this vision, like my whole life around my vision and my health, because nothing else matters. So if you keep yourself healthy, you keep your stress level low, that is fuel for you, your family, your business, friends, your whole life, right? But we have to have that fuel. So design your life around that first. Make that self-care non-negotiable. Like, I have learned that when I'm at my most stress periods, right? Because I've had some last fall, it was very stressful for me. And every morning I just wanted to get up, fix it, write the emails, go, go, go. But I knew that if I didn't like keep my, go to the gym every Tuesday and Thursday like I had been, like that, I had to stick with that routine because that was going to help me answer those emails more effectively. That was going to make me clearer. I wasn't going to be writing in a frenzy, right? So put your self-care first on your calendar. Don't get rid of it because of all these other things. Maintain some of it if you can't even do all of it, because it's the fuel for longevity. And when you take self-care off the calendar, it's very short-term thinking. And you're not going to be able to get the marathon that is life, the marathon that is rearranging your life around COVID-19 and quarantines and news cycles and fake news and all this kind of stuff. You just won't have the energy for it. So what we're trying to do is make sure that we keep our work every day to keep the stress levels low, so there's some room for all these things. If there's no room for all of this stuff, then you're going to go down. You're going to get sick. Your cells are going to go down. And then that cycle just breeds more anxiety, right? When you're not able to make things happen that you need happen for like your basic health and wellness and financial wellness. So every human is an artist, and the dream of your life is to make beautiful art. And this is from the 4 agreements. And so remember, like, this is your choice. This is up to you, right? You get to design your life in a way that will maintain your sanity and maintain your sales. So I've been talking about like, do the self-care, but it needs to be organized and not haphazard. So I'm going to talk about the 5 steps to your self-care plan. And this is like the bread and butter of my system. This is what everything is built upon. This is the engine in which my business runs. So the first thing is to prioritize your vision, right? So you have to figure out, it's like, well, if I'm not happy with my life right now, I feel like I'm stressed and overwhelmed, where am I trying to go? Where am I trying to get to? Because otherwise, if you don't have that, you might be doing random pieces of self-care that is not getting you to where you want to go, right? So you might be spending all your time getting your nails done, but self-care is definitely more than manicures. And you have to make sure to say, okay, well, my vision was not to have pretty nails. My vision is, that particular family member is not like draining me all the time, right? So getting my nails done is not helping me have that family member not drain me, right? So you have to make sure your vision is in line. Then you have to prioritize your awareness, because many of us don't really know all the places where stress is entering in our life. And it is both internal and external, right? So a lot of times we're like, this person at work, this client, this vendor's not getting back to me, my mama, my sister, all these things, but then we forget the way that we contribute to our own stress, right? So by not being as organized as we need to be, not asking for help, all of that, those are reasons why internally we may cause ourselves stress. So I try to control what I can control. And for me, is having awareness of those internal things, the things that I can work on, and work on those next. The next thing is to prioritize your time, because a lot of people are like, I don't have time for self-care. But if you go into your phone and look at the app that tells you how much you use your phone, it's going to tell you that being on your phone is a part-time job. Like most people spend 20 hours a week on your phone. And so that's 20 hours for your business. That's like 10 hours for your business, a few hours for self-care, and 5 hours for whatever that other thing is that you keep saying you don't have time for. So make sure that you prioritize your time and make it useful, right? And so there's nothing wrong with scrolling on your phone. I do it every day. If you come on Instagram early in the morning, you'll see I may have hearted your picture, but I understand during that time that is not connected to my vision or my goals. And so I have to understand to limit that time, right? And know why I am there and not spend all of my time doing that. And then it's like, oh, I didn't get to read my book. Oh, I didn't get to take that bath. Oh, I didn't go, I didn't check on my bank statement kind of thing, right? So you got to prioritize your time to things that are in your vision. Then prioritize your activities. Make sure the activities that you're doing for self-care, like I just mentioned, match what was stressing you out in the first place, right? So you want to make sure that there is a connection, that what you're doing is going to result in a measurable decrease in yourself and your measurable decrease in your stress. And lastly, prioritize your boundaries, which we talked about a little bit. So when you get to the activity stage, that's kind of where your self-care plan is falling into place. So what are you doing daily, weekly, monthly? But the plan does not get enacted unless you prioritize your boundaries. So the first thing is with yourself, right? Stick to it, hold yourself accountable to it. So I have a vision of being off high blood pressure medicine, but with all this that's going on, Monday I ate all day. I did not set a boundary around food because we just all went shopping. We got a lot of food, right? And it's tasty and it's good. And I ate all day. And so Tuesday, I was like, you know what? All these people are always talking about intermittent fasting. Let me try that. Let me try only eating from noon to 6. I needed to set a boundary with myself because I was going to eat all the snacks. I ate all. People made me making demands on your time, and it's up to you. You're the only one who knows everything that's on your plate. You're the only person who knows what's important to you. So you have to set those boundaries to make your self plan become a reality. All right. So make sure you focus on your brain, focus on that overwhelm, focus on being peaceful, calm, meditating. So that way you can maintain, you can be clearer, you can walk away from worry, right? You want to make sure you're looking at how your time has changed. So looking at your bandwidth, like what do you have energy for? What do you have time for, given everything that is changing? And then the last thing is looking at your boundaries and making sure that you set aside time for self-care, make that non-negotiable, and figure out for yourself like what you can do, what you can't do. Don't let anybody else dictate that for you, because if you maintain your brain, your bandwidth, and your boundaries, that is how you're going to maintain your sales. All right, so I am done here, but Quanisha's going to drop this link into the chat. I have a free self-care planning template that you could get at Selfcare by Aisha /free gifts. And then you can always go to my website where I have a lot of free stuff, lots of blogs, lots of things you can get. And I'm also on Facebook and Instagram at Selfcare by Aisha.
This was great. Another video with so many practical tips. And I love that you talked about, and I echo this because it's also my teaching, like build your business around the vision for your life. And I love that you said the vision for your health, right? Because we can have these visions and it's like, is that the healthiest thing for you? Actually. So definitely grab Aisha's self-care template. So a self-care plan template. I put it there in the chats. And Aisha, any last words of wisdom that you would like to share to the women around really helping them through this time of crisis?
Provide yourself a little bit of grace. that like we're in uncharted territory. Like I'm in there for our lives as well as I'm, as a public health professional watching it being uncharted in our space as well. And so give yourself a little flexibility, a little bit of grace, and a week to figure it out, right? So I'm telling you, like you got to have all these things, but you don't have to have them a day. Right. You
Mhm.
can, have them by next week. And then the week after, you're like, okay, this worked, that didn't work. Be flexible. Right. So don't be too rigid on like the methodology. I heard someone actually say this, Dr. Eric Thomas. He's like, keep your vision really solid, but be flexible on the methodology. And so I want to echo those sentiments as well.
Love it, love it. So we do have our next speaker, which is Dr. Monica on deck, but I definitely wanted to read some of the comments and see if there's a question. Jessica said, well, she said, thank you for coming. We need this. Cassandra said, I recognize I focus best keeping my brain limited to the current and maybe next day to do tasks. And of course, Aisha, if you have a comment, feel free to jump in there. And then Tiffany said all the food. And I also put like, I get the food thing.
All of it.
All the food. Cassandra says, and I agree about repurposing. I invested an entire year of my time changing my business offering only to come back to what originally worked for the last 12 years. Talk about a waste of energy. Crystal said, yes, draw a line. And that's me telling. And then Crystal said, working with zero tolerance for crazy right now, choosing calm.
Mm.
And then Crystal also said, love it. What does my life and health look like? So the vision once again, and put self-care. Crystal said, put self-care back on the calendar. So I'm really glad that you all are getting some of the practical tips. And of course, there's more. Loving the idea of limiting, not eliminating, Tiffany said. So just in the interest of time, I know we have Dr. Monica on deck. We can't read everything. And hopefully Aisha, will you jump in?
Yeah, I'll jump into the Facebook Live and answer your
Awesome.
questions and comments.
So she'll jump in and answer some more comments, and definitely grab Aisha's self-care plan template. I will drop that again in the chat. And thank you so much, Aisha, for being here and sharing your expertise and wisdom with all of us so that we know how to be calm and confident during this time of crisis. Oh, girl, the episode stopped, but the party is not over. I want you to go ahead and subscribe, like, and rate this show. Leave us a comment sharing your takeaways. And when you're done with that, come on over to blackwomanceo.com, join our movement. And when you do that, you'll get the special invitation to join us in our community. Well, I would love to put a face to that name, girl. So this is Quanisha signing off, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Peace and love.